Hello, this is meteorologist Jessica Few with the National Weather Service in Peachtree City with the weekly weather briefing for July 11th. The main story for the next week will continue to be the rainfall and flooding potential. Although only 1 to 2 inches of rain is expected, with the already moist ground, flash flooding is a concern, and we'll go more into this later in the briefing. A cold front will move into Georgia today and stall across central Georgia for Friday into Saturday. This will bring rain into Georgia once again today and focus it more across central Georgia for Friday. Although earlier in the week Tropical Storm Chantal was in the Atlantic, the system is no longer a tropical storm and is now just a tropical wave. We'll go into more detail on this at the end of the briefing. So it's been a wet year so far, but where do we stand exactly? Here are the rankings for the year to date from January 1st through July 10th for precipitation. Macon has the wettest start to the year with 45.29 inches, followed by Atlanta with the third wettest start to the year with 41.28 inches. Columbus and Athens also both fell within the top 10 wettest starts to the year, ranking 5th and 9th respectively. All this rain has helped to keep our maximum temperatures on the cooler side for the month of July. From July 1st through July 9th, Atlanta, Columbus, and Macon all fell in the top 10 for the coolest average maximum temperature. In fact, Columbus ranked number 2 with 84.9 degrees Fahrenheit for the coolest average maximum temperature so far for July. This graphic shows the percent of normal precipitation across north and central Georgia for the past 7 days. With the rainy period over the past week, we would expect these percentages to be above 100%. Most of north and central Georgia isn't just above 100%, but in fact is 300% or more above normal. There are even locations across northwest Georgia near Dalton and northeast Georgia near Gainesville and Athens that have seen over 600% of normal precipitation over the past week. With all of this recent rain, it won't take much to get flooding across the area. 3-hour flash flood guidance values are shown in the image. These are the values at which you would expect flash flooding if you received the amounts of rainfall in 3 hours or less. The lower values are shown in the purple and white colors and are highlighted by the red area. This includes northwest Georgia and portions of eastern Georgia from Atlanta to Athens to Washington. These areas need less than 2 inches in 3 hours to see flash flooding. So although the areas in the red circle will flood more easily, all of north and central Georgia is vulnerable to flash flooding. So we know it won't take much to get flash flooding across north and central Georgia, but let's take a look at how much rainfall we are expecting. Here are the rainfall totals expected through Friday. For North Georgia, around a ½ inch to 1 inch of rain is expected, whereas 1 to 2 inches of rain is expected across central Georgia. Locally higher amounts are also possible. These precipitation values are on the lower side, and if we were in a dry period, they would be no problem. However, this is not the case. With the moist soil across north and central Georgia, flash flooding, even with these amounts of rainfall, are possible, and thus a flash flood watch was issued for much of the area. As of noon Thursday, here is a depiction of the flash flood watch in effect across north and much of central Georgia. The flash flood watch is in effect through midnight across north Georgia and is in effect through 4 a.m. Friday across much of central Georgia. This watch will be tweaked based off the latest trends, so for the most updated watch, please visit our website at weather.gov/Atlanta. This flash flood watch was issued based on the already wet soil conditions and the expected ½ inch to inch of rain expected across north Georgia and 1 to 2 inches of rain expected across central Georgia. It won't take much in terms of rainfall to get flash flooding across north and central Georgia. With the wet soil conditions, also keep in mind it will be easy for trees to fall down. Here's the overall pattern for today. The upper level pattern is shown on the left with the water vapor satellite as the background image and the 500 millibar heights shown in green. There's an upper level ridge over the southwest U.S. and another upper level ridge over the Atlantic. Between the two upper level ridges is an upper level trough over the Great Lakes region, and this is the system that will push the surface front, shown in the right-hand image, into Georgia this afternoon. With a cold front pushing into Georgia today, the Storm Prediction Center has placed Georgia in general thunder in their Day 1 outlook. In addition, much of the area is in the 5% risk for damaging wind. Although occasional lightning, wind gusts of 45 miles per hour, and small hail are also possible today and tonight, flash flooding remains the main threat. Although the wind gusts are expected to remain below severe criteria, with the wet soil, even just a little wind will cause trees to fall down. Isolated to scattered strong storms are expected today. However, an isolated severe storm cannot be ruled out. As we move into Friday, the cold front becomes stationary across central Georgia, and this will help to keep the better rain chances across central and southern Georgia. The 6-hour accumulated precipitation from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Friday is shown in the shading on the image, and you can see that this particular model, the GFS, is keeping northwest Georgia dry. So the good news in all of this is that parts of North Georgia may see a break from the rain on Friday. This may be short-lived, though. As we move into the weekend, the upper-level closed low retrogrades back to the west. This will shift the front back to the west, and once again rain chances will creep back into North Georgia. The remnants of Chantal, which we will discuss more later, will also begin to affect the southeast this weekend, reinforcing the better moisture across the state. After today, Sunday appears to be the next best chance of rain, although there is rain in the forecast for most areas each day through next week. By next week, our rain chances return to the 30 to 40% range, which is more typical for the summer. We've already looked at rainfall amounts expected through Friday, but this image shows you the rainfall values expected Friday night through Tuesday. For the most part, around a ½ inch to 1½ inches of rain is expected across north and central Georgia. Given the wet soil, we will have to continue to monitor for flash flooding through this time period, but at this point it's too early to narrow down the best timing and location of the higher amounts. What was Tropical Storm Chantal is now just a tropical wave near the Bahamas. The National Hurricane Center has given the remnants of Chantal only a 20% chance of redevelopment into a tropical cyclone over the next 48 hours. Thus, the chance for redevelopment is low. Even so, some impact from the remnants of Chantal is still expected across the southeast, and let's take a look at that more closely. This is the infrared satellite imagery of the remnants of Chantal from Thursday morning. Just from the satellite imagery alone, you can tell it doesn't look very impressive. At this point, the National Hurricane Center is no longer issuing advisories on the system, and the remnants are depicted as a very weak system in the models. This makes it somewhat hard to track. Overall, though, the system should move towards the southeast United States and bring increased moisture into Georgia for the weekend. This will help to enhance our rain chances for the weekend, in particular on Sunday. We will have to continue to monitor for any additional flooding problems as the system moves closer. The main concern for this week remains the flash flooding potential. Even though expected rainfall amounts range from a ½ inch to 2 inches, the wet soil has primed the area for flash flooding, and thus a flash flood watch has been issued for much of the area. Visit weather.gov/Atlanta for the latest on the flash flood watch, as it has the potential to change this afternoon and into tonight. After the cold front moves through North Georgia today, it is expected to stall across central Georgia on Friday and will focus the better rain chances across central and south Georgia. This will allow for a break in the rain across parts of North Georgia on Friday. This will be short-lived, though, as the remnants of Chantal move into the southeast over the weekend, and this will bring increased moisture to Georgia for the weekend. During these wet conditions, remember it won't take much in terms of wind to down trees. So overall, another wet week is in store for us. We'll see you back here again next Thursday for our weekly weather briefing.